There used to be a time not so long ago where doing your admin was tough. Customers throwing bags and boxes full of invoices and receipts at their accountants, it was chaos. While the world around us became more digital, new challenges in the land of accounting arose. Challenges such as organizing the huge amount of documents coming from different sources in various formats. Yet somehow all of this data did seem to get perfectly organized. In an almost magical way, automatic and intelligent transactions being pushed in real time into financial systems like Twinfield, Xero, and Sage, as well as capturing receipts and expenses on the go, and staying in control with an outstanding workflow for approving invoices. Now, what made all this possible? What is their secret? Basecone, where accounting magic happens.
Today is the first day of what yesterday we called the future. It's inevitable. And like the future, unpredictable, unstoppable. But there is one thing that we know. We're changing it now. Taking action to build the tomorrow we want. A new energy on the planet. More inclusive, shared, greener. It's in our hands. You can only change the world if you can change yourself. If you can find the will, the know, and the how. Because that's our story. To always discover a new ambition. EDP is using the power of wind, sun, and water to be 100% green and to support those who today are already changing tomorrow. EDP, changing tomorrow now.
Hello everyone. Welcome to another live session of WDL22. In case you forgot who we are, my name is Miguel. I'm tuning in from France and I'll be one of your hosts today. With me, I have Fabiana, Tamara, and Maggie from the WDL organization. Tamara, how is it going over there?
Really good. It's a really nice day in Basel, Switzerland. And yeah, I'm happy to join for the first time on the live session. Usually I'm behind the scenes looking at the data before anyone else gets to see it. So that's cool, but I'm happy to join live this time.
That's great. Fabiana, how's it going?
Also sunny in Lisbon. I love the WDL weather forecast. It's my favorite moment.
Always sunny in Lisbon, right?
Always sunny in Lisbon, except this morning, but also very nice. Here.
Let's hope it's sunny in Lisbon in a couple of days. Oops, spoiler. I won't say too much. Maggie.
Hi everyone, it's really good to be back. I can't believe the last time I was here was the first live session and it's the last. It's insane. So I'm really excited to be here to see who the top 5 are going to be.
Great stuff. Okay, so we are your hosts for today. And now, well, obviously the WDL semifinals are officially finished. Congratulations, everyone, which also marks the beginning of the finals. But let's not spoil too much of that. There will be time in the second half of the live to talk more about the WDL finals. For the semifinals, it was again 3 long weeks of work for everyone, participants, mentors, jury, organizers. So again, just like to say congratulations. It was a great achievement. I know you're all super excited to know who is the winner of the semifinals and who are the 5 teams who will move on to the finals. And yes, we will talk about all that, but first we have our much beloved WDL show, where we chat with different people who are part of WDL. Similarly to last month, we have several guests live with us today. And like I said, these are people who one way or another collaborate with the World Data League to make sure that we provide our participants with the best possible experience. Last month, we had Henk van Dijk from Salt Bay, one of the WDL partners. And we also had Floris Goos, a mentor and jury from WDL. But this time we have a different cast tuning in, right, Fabiana?
Yes, we do. So this time we're having Maide Ashfari. She's a machine learning engineer and also a mentor at WDL. And we have Paulo Maia, who's a lead team member of the SSG Portugal, and also a mentor and jury, and another couple of things related to WDL, but we'll tell you more during the talk. And also, finally, we're having Ricardo Couto. She's part of the WDL team. He's a community manager and is a very familiar face to alternate mentors and jury of this edition, because it's like his responsibility. Sorry, I got lost in my thoughts. So I guess this is it, Miguel.
Awesome. Great introduction. I have to admit, I'm looking forward to chatting with this group today. We usually don't have a WDL organizer, well, besides us hosts, obviously. So great to have Ricardo here, and obviously Paulo Maia, a very well-known face to WDL already, participant. I think, Paulo, you were also present in the first live session. And Maide, new face, but very well-known from Discord and from the community as well. How are you guys doing, Paulo?
Hey,
how's it going?
So I'm good, thanks. I was in the first session. I really don't know how you guys still aren't tired of listening to me, but it's a good thing you're inviting me. It means I'm actually doing something well and say things that people like to hear about. And what about you, Miguel? How is it in France?
I'm very, very, very good. Very happy to have you guys here. Maide, how's it going?
Hi, great. Greetings from sunny Nantes.
Awesome. Sunny across the board.
Yeah.
Let's jump right to it. We're just gonna have very, very casual conversation, but still I wanna ask you some questions to know how the WDL experience has been going so far. Let's start with Paulo. Paulo, you're here actually as a mentor and jury. So which one has been, let's start with harder. Which one has been harder for you, mentoring or evaluating?
I'd say evaluating is the hardest part, because you just from the notebook alone, notebook, the pitch and the executive summary, you really can't see how much effort the teams put into it. And it's hard to know sometimes what was their idea behind it. As a mentor, you can push them towards the path you think makes most sense. As a jury, you need to step into their shoes and try to understand what they were thinking about, how they were trying to generate impact from the solution. And there are so many good solutions which are very hard to compare sometimes. It's a very difficult job.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You didn't yet tell me. Did you tell me which one is actually harder to do?
Yeah, jury is the hardest one.
It's the hardest one. Okay. Fabian, anything from your side?
Sorry, I guess it was a bit slow, like my Wi-Fi here. Yeah, actually, I was going to ask about mentoring as well, because it was not big from Paulo, but maybe Maide, can you tell us, like, what is your strategy, like the step-by-step to mentor a team, like from the first moment you talk with them about the challenge?
Actually, for the mentoring, so we had a couple of the mentoring sessions. So usually I try to be a good listener at the beginning of the sessions and to know what they have done so far. Do they have any roadmap to reach a good solution? And the important thing is that they understand well what's the problem. Actually, that's a known trap in machine learning field, that we start considering the solutions without understanding well the problem. And during these sessions, I usually to proceed the sessions by asking them a question to make them think to what they are going. And I usually advise them to start with the basic approach in a pipeline to make sure actually all things works well and they can improve it and try make it better and better if they have time.
Perfect.
Same question for you, Paulo. Your strategy.
I really like that approach as well of listening to what they feel like. But in my case, I also try to shoot out a lot of distinct ideas and ask the team which one they think that makes most sense to fit into their work, like maybe modeling strategies or impact measurement strategies. I also recommend them to look in the literature whenever possible, not only scientific papers, but maybe news where people have done similar things to what they're trying to do in this approach. And I ask them to find some points where the solution is really different from what has been seen before. That's a good thing to do when you're creating a project.
And how has been the reception of the teams from this strategy? Do you see that the teams actually engage in your mentoring sessions, for example?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, from my experience, after seeing the notebooks before and after my mentoring sessions, I think they use some of the ideas, but in the end, the solution is of course theirs. I don't expect them to follow all my suggestions. They just take in the suggestions I do and see which ones fit into their way of thinking. I don't think it's the job of the mentor to completely shape the solution, but to ask the correct questions, to make them think twice about their decisions, and to guide them a little bit towards thinking what parts need to be improved. If they have the time, of course. Sometimes that's the issue as well.
Maide, from your side, how have you seen engagement from the teams that you've mentored?
Actually, it's pretty well, I can say, and I see that most of the teams that I mentored, they are really receptive and they are really open to feedback. And when I check in some submissions, when I check in their notebook, I see that they are actually, for some of them, I usually advise to have enough documentation in their notebook. For instance, when they did the EDA, so what's the conclusion of this part, and what's the main takeaways? And I see in most of the notebooks that they have mentioned it. And yeah, that's really interesting.
Okay.
As we are approaching like the end of the World Data League, we feel like nostalgic and we want to like start looking back. And we have no doubt that the teams learned a lot from you. But have you, like both of you, discovered something or learned something from this edition that you feel like I don't know the word.
What I'm thinking is that the main takeaway of the WDL is the team working, and I think they should keep in mind that together they can accomplish the remarkable, and to have a team spirit these are the important factor in the when they are participating in the competitions, and also in the future future job they are going to get. To have a team spirit is an important factor.
Paul, from your side, have you learned anything, or is it just giving
Yeah,
knowledge to others?
Yeah, of course I did. Of course I did. You always learn. So in technical terms, I learned a lot about using geospatial data. There's one particular challenge, which was the route optimization in Lisbon, where the teams used a lot of interesting route optimization strategies that I have never used in my work before. I have to look up how some of the methods work to do a proper evaluation, a proper mentoring. But from that, I did learn a lot. You also learn a lot how to communicate with people, like project management and product ownership, as you are trying to help them create not exactly a product, but an MVP, a proof of concept for a social impact solution. And you, as a mentor, you need to know which things you need to say so they create a working solution, and don't spend too much time like dispersing into paths that won't lead into delivering a good quality product in time. I guess those are the two most important points that I think I improved a lot during WDL.
Awesome, cool. I wasn't expecting that one of the learnings that you got was actually from the topic of the challenges, which means that you were pretty engaged. That's really cool to hear, honestly. Let me pull Ricardo here to the conversation, because we've been talking about engagement of participants, and I want to ask Ricardo a little bit how his experience has been going with the mentors and jury. And again, Ricardo, if you have something negative to say, just put a comma, except Paulo and my day in the end, and we're good to go. But honestly, how's it been going for you?
Yeah, first of all, it's been a pleasure to work in WDL. It's my first year, but it's my first year, my first time collaborating in such a project, and honestly, it has been exceeding my expectations, because in my when I started this project, I had this idea that the experts would be people who would be completely unreachable, and they would have a very few availability, and the reality couldn't be further from that. From the beginning, the experts were the first ones to really step up and to be engaged, to be motivated, both juries and mentors, and it has been really amazing to see that, especially I would say especially from the mentoring side, because the jury, I would say, has a harder job, like Paulo said, but it's more on the sidelines. So they have that week of evaluating, and it's and that week, and they can do it a bit asynchronously. And the mentors know they need to be present. They need to help the teams. They need to guide them. Yes. So in short, it has been exceeding my expectations towards them and towards their availability, their knowledge, and their experience.
Awesome. I feel like right now I also want to be a part of WDL team. It feels like such a nice project. We don't have much time, but we'd like to ask Maide and Paulo for a bit of advice for the 5 finalist teams that we are about to find out who are they. So what would you advise?
The only advice is keep up the good job actually. And I know that up to now they have learned lots. When comparing from the first stage, yeah, it is remarkable that they have learned a lot. Wish them good luck.
Yeah, I'd say like just keep doing what you've been doing so far. It's been working, and don't change your method drastically. Just because if you don't know the topic of the challenge or the technologies that you need to use that well. Start thinking small, like you've done so far, and try to complete something just in time for all the deadlines. Don't overcomplicate. I think that's the most important thing. And good luck, yeah, as well.
Smart advice.
Awesome feedback. Pragmatic, straight to the point. I like it. Awesome. Well, like Fabiana said, we're running out of time. So I'd like to thank every one of you for joining us today. Paulo and Maide, thank you very much for being there for our participants throughout the competition and for providing your valuable insights. And Ricardo, obviously, thank you so much for being a part of the WDL team and especially for communicating with mentors and jury so brilliantly like you do. Hopefully we'll see each other in person in Lisbon in 2 weeks, all of us here.
Yeah.
So yeah, now it's time for the leaderboards. So very, very, very short break. See you all in a bit.
See you.
Yeah.
Okay, I told you it was a short one. We're back, but this time I'm here with Maggie. Maggie, what's gonna happen now?
Well, now we are going to figure out who won the overall activity leaderboard. Very exciting. This team will win 500 euros. So it's a good amount to have a cool vacation, at least, I think. But before that, I want to congratulate the teams that actually participated in the game nights. Thank you so much. I saw a lot of engagement from your parts, and we also have some perks for the ones who doesn't win the leaderboards. So in first place for the game night, we have Cape. So Cape so far won 3 rounds of activities. Really, really cool. You worked really, really hard, and now we're seeing the leaderboard, the overall leaderboard.
Okay, and we're back.
That was the leaderboard. We're back. So I want to congratulate again Cape team for winning. So you won all 3 activities. You won the overall leaderboards, and thank you all for the teams that participated so far. And some of the perks will be sent to you via email, so keep an eye for that. And I won't keep you waiting more. I know all of you are very excited to find out the rest of the leaderboards. So back to you, Miguel.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you very much. Yeah, like Maggie said, it's time to announce the semifinals leaderboard. I have the top 3 teams here with me today, and they still don't know who's the winner. But before they join me, let's see that leaderboard, shall we? Let's go. I think we had some technical problems. Sometimes happens. Let's try again to see that leaderboard, if possible. Oops, we had a glitch in the matrix, but we're back. And you guys saw the leaderboard, or at least you saw until the 4th place. So like I said, with me, I have the top 3 teams. Who are they? We have Yodas from Portugal, Gionias from Colombia, and Pablitos, an international team who actually joined from our external competition partner. Before we announce the winner, I want to welcome all teams here today and congratulate them for making the top 3. You guys can come in live, can join that party. Gionias and Yodas, you have been here before for stage 1 and stage 2, but for Pablitos, it's their first time. So great to have you guys here with us.
More than 20 years after
Funny
being
enough,
declared a World
this
Heritage
time I
Site
took
by
a very
UNESCO,
close look at the evaluations throughout the week. And actually, all of you here were in first place at one point during the week. So there was a lot of shuffle. And the first and second place actually flipped on the very last evaluation that was posted on Monday. So there you have it. It just goes to show how unpredictable WDL can be. But I don't want to keep those heart rates high for too long. So let's just announce the podium. In third place, we have the Portuguese Yodas, 234 points. Congratulations, team. Second place, we have 235 points. Pablitos, international team. Congratulations, guys. And first place, Gionias, Colombia, 242 points. Congratulations. Very, very huge achievement. Yodas and Pablitos, I'll see you guys in Lisbon in 2 weeks. It's not over. Let's go for the finals. Gionias, you guys stay here with me today. We go for an interview. But before, let's watch that video pitch, okay? Thanks, everyone.
more than 20 years after being declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO, Porto is now one of the most sought destinations in Europe. The marked increase in tourism and investing poses a significant challenge in both mobility and environmental footprint for Porto, which has been characterized by low mobility indicators and high usage of private vehicles. This is where soft mobility solutions such as scooter sharing could play an important role in the future of Porto's mobility. The municipality has implemented a significant program with over 2,000 scooters in circulation. Current trip trends show that many people leave their scooters away from allowed drop-off points. Interestingly, these locations seem to be usually close to areas of high cultural and entertainment value. This leaves a question. What if we could allocate better the parking points such that the touristic and leisure demand is better covered by soft transportation? We Gionias have developed a solution that allows municipality officials to obtain better drop-off points in the context of tourism and entertainment. Let's explore the 3 components that make this possible. First, from historical trips data, we obtain candidate locations of possible parking based on clusters where people are currently ending their trips. This opens the possibility of having the users drive the definition of new parking points. In San Jose, the capital of Costa Rica, we know the following. It concentrates the most reports of crime that disproportionately target women according to our analysis. Some progress is being made in awareness and in the law to better consider such crimes. It would be ideal to use data to aid this process. However, available data lacks granularity in both time and space to allow a more nuanced understanding of gender-based violence in San Jose. Hoping to aid in these concerns, we Gionias have developed a tool with 2 main objectives. First, to empower women with data so that they can be aware of risky places. And second, to give people interested in making change appropriate data and insights about the situation for more informed decisions. Let's explore how we envision this tool. Our first proposal is a risk map that women can use to look at a glance how risky is an area at the block level. This risk measurement is a categorization of prevalence of cases in the area. Such information can be seen on the demo, which is accessible through web browsers as well as mobile platforms. Then, in order to enable change and devise strategies for improving safety of women, we develop an explanatory spatial model that informs about the factors that are correlated with the index of gender-based crimes on each sector in the risk index map. The model takes into account factors such as presence of police, general geographic, and population information. The model also accounts for the fact that crimes tend to form hotspots and spatial aggregations. What we get is a measure of the correlation of each factor with the prevalence of cases. In the demo, the users can see which factors have more weight and whether those are correlated with more or less risk. Finally, while the risk map details and the model results allow understanding of the current state of violence, we can also take advantage of historical violence data to predict trends at the district level. All in conjunction, through the demo you can understand, first, the present stage of risk and its distribution in the city, second, how different factors in the area correlate with risk, so it might be possible to devise strategies to improve safety, and third, a high-level forecast of cases in the city to also aid focus these efforts. Now, we've seen that the maps show information at the block level, a granularity that historical data does not have. In the official sources, cases are only reported at the district level and are heavily underreported. This is where the most crucial component of our tool comes in. Inspired by research and initiatives such as the Red Dot Foundation, we designed a simple form that San Jose's inhabitants can use to report gender-based violence. We hope its anonymity and simplicity allows women to report the threats to their safety without negative repercussions. With our tool, we hope to help women not only find safe places for the public activities, but also involve themselves in facilitating the understanding of risk to potentially enable measures to create more safe spaces for themselves and other women. Thank you.
Okay, and we're back. Once again, Gionias, congratulations for pulling this off. This is what, the third time that we have you here live.
Yes.
And you keep coming in first place. How do you guys do this? What's happening? What's the trick? Serious question, really. What's the trick?
I don't know. I think that we are. Could you come first?
Yeah. I guess there's no trick. I mean, I think something that helps a lot is that we all come from very different backgrounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think we all approach the problem in a very different way, but at the same time we come up with a very complete solution. I think that's something that has helped us a lot.
Tell me a little bit about that different, like the angle of approach that you guys take in specific in this case. How did you see that your different angles of approach helped in this challenge?
Yeah, please go on.
So the way I think about it is that we basically realize first we saw the data and see what we have to work with.
Yep.
So the first thing we realized, we know it also as a general fact, is that all the information, especially in gender-based crimes, is very incomplete. So we knew that from the start. So then we have, okay, what can we do with the data we have? So we basically was the part that Santiago was his focus, that was all this spatial analysis, and do as much as we can with the information that we have, and also try to filter it. I was basically focusing how to select the most reliable part of the data.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the other part that, okay, our idea is that in the future, if this project is applied, we can have more data. So we thought about the part of the
collecting the data.
So we basically have that questionnaire. So as a door to make the model and our work even better by collecting more data. So basically create like the best we can with what we have, and then create like a channel to make it better if it went into mass use, as a way to say it.
No, it makes complete sense. I took a look at your solution, I was actually surprised that you guys went all the way to not only turning this into a product. Obviously, that's part of the evaluation criteria, but also creating this, like you said, this door to get more data and theoretically, I would say data that's more appropriate, or that has more structure, that you could continue to use it.
Exactly.
What did you find of the not find? What did you think of the data sets that were available to you? You mentioned that this type of data is it has some limitations, but what did you guys find?
Like, for example, not all the things that you might consider like a gender-based violence is always reported, like calling women in the street names and those kinds of things. In most places, especially in Latin America, are not considered crimes. So that will go underreported, and that will not be seen in the data. But is that way, and also some crimes are not clearly segregated if they are like gender-based or regular crimes. So there's like some gray areas.
Yeah, for sure.
Melissa or Santiago have something to add to this point?
Maybe the data sets that we use it from Urban Analytica. We have general crimes that we have a lot of data that we could use to forecast or to analyze, but the sexual harassment data set was scarce. We only have some province or cantons in Costa Rica, so we need more data. So that was the part, or the beginning to collect more data, because the sexual harassment data set was very scarce and we can not use it to forecast or to train an spatial model. Okay, got it. Okay, cool. Thanks for the feedback. I actually am running out of time. You know that this is a short one. Thank you very much, guys, for joining live with me today. I hope to see you, or part of the team, or whoever we managed to bring to Lisbon. But I'm very happy to have you guys in Lisbon with us for the in-person finals. Thank you very much. I'll let you guys go.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
And now let's just. I have a huge background noise. Okay, it's gone. Phew, that was a hard one. Well, now let's take another look at the final leaderboard with the 5 teams who will go on to the WDL finals in Lisbon, Portugal. Let's see that leaderboard. And there you have it, folks. These are the finalists. These are the 5 teams that will be competing in these WDL finals. We'll have a team from Colombia, a team from Portugal, a team from Italy, and 2 international teams. So take that, Qatar World Cup. To the other teams, congratulations for taking the challenge of participating in WDL22. It was truly, I say this with complete honesty, it was truly a pleasure to have you with us. All your contributions will be part of our open source code repository. So you're leaving this year's competition knowing that your work will be available for real world organizations to use on their social impact projects. And that's a hell of an achievement. Now, for the other teams, we'll see you in Lisbon. And for this live session, we'll now go for a break. And after that, we're going to find out what the challenge and topic of the WDL finals will be about. Shall we? See you all after the break.
There used to be a time not so long ago where doing your admin was tough. Customers throwing bags and boxes full of invoices and receipts at their accountants, it was chaos. While the world around us became more digital, new challenges in the land of accounting arose. Challenges such as organizing the huge amount of documents coming from different sources in various formats. Yet somehow all of this data did seem to get perfectly organized. In an almost magical way, automatic and intelligent transactions being pushed in real time into financial systems like Twinfield, Xero, and Sage, as well as capturing receipts and expenses on the go, and staying in control with an outstanding workflow for approving invoices. Now, what made all this possible? What is their secret? Basecone, where accounting magic happens.
Today is the first day of what yesterday we called the future. It's inevitable. And like the future, unpredictable, unstoppable. But there is one thing that we know. We're changing it now. Taking action to build the tomorrow we want. A new energy on the planet. More inclusive, shared, greener. It's in our hands. You can only change the world if you can change yourself. If you can find the will, the know, and the how. Because that's our story. To always discover a new ambition. EDP is using the power of wind, sun, and water to be 100% green and to support those who today are already changing tomorrow. EDP, changing tomorrow now.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a nice little short break, got yourself some tea, and I hope you are excited to find out what the finals will be all about. You already got a little hint in the video just now, and the final topic will be biodiversity. Now, WDL is a global event, and we also had global challenges. We were in the US, in Austin. We were in Portugal. The last challenge was in Costa Rica. And this time, our journey takes us to the city of Bristol in southwestern England. Now, the challenge title will be Identification of Dark Ecological Corridors. What does that mean? Maybe if you live in a city like me, you notice that if you go abroad or into the mountains, suddenly you can see the stars. And the reason for that is obviously not that there are more stars if you're in the countryside, but that in a city, there's a ton of light pollution. And this artificial light at night isn't only an issue for us to not see the stars, but also a major threat to global biodiversity, especially for nocturnal species. And one of the species that is most affected by this are bats. Now, the Bristol City Council decided to take matters into their hands and take strategic steps within the next 2 years to prevent or reduce light pollution and help the bats thrive better in their city, and with that, the overall nocturnal biodiversity. And they want to do that by installing a central management system for their streetlights. And this is exactly where you come in, because as you can imagine, there are a lot of streetlights and a lot of questions to be answered. Which lights do we want to turn off or dim? And how do we best do that, especially if the situation changes? You will be provided with several data sets about the streetlights in Bristol, about where bats have been recorded, where moths have been recorded, which is one of the food sources for bats, data sets about green alleys and existing wildlife corridors, and more. And the outcome that we hope you can create is an optimization algorithm that connects these natural habitats of bats. Like if you imagine the bats live in one place and the moths mostly exist in another place, they need to get back and forth. But if there's a lot of light, they might get confused and the habitats get scattered. And we want you to find an algorithm that connects these habitats and helps the bats thrive, while being mindful that, of course, there's a reason we have streetlights for the safety of pedestrians and road users. This might remind you of the last challenge, which was all about safety in the city. And we hope maybe you can use some of that knowledge you gained in the last challenge about safety factors to minimize the impact of these dark corridors that we're creating on the safety of people living in Bristol. So this is a really multifaceted challenge, and I'm very excited to see what you're going to do with the data. So the timetable for the finals. Today, the 1st of June, we are kicking off the finals. After this short presentation, there will be a roundtable with someone from the Bristol City Council I'm very excited to talk to. Their first workshop will actually already be tomorrow about spatiotemporal analysis, which is by Salt Pay. And as always, the workshops are very highly recommended. They really do help you with the challenges and usually are pretty awesome. And the second workshop will be on the 7th of June, this time by Capgemini. And it's about the art of storytelling for AI. Because as you have noticed, machine learning is one part, but telling the story is what really helps you get your idea out there and get your models actually used. The submission deadline this time is on the 14th of June. It's a Tuesday. As always, midnight anywhere on Earth. And as always, we recommend you make this in your head midnight at your place on Earth, so you have a few moments left if something goes wrong, as it always wants to when you are submitting something. And this time, the final event will actually be in person in Lisbon, in Portugal, between the 17th and 19th of June. The finals format is a tiny bit different. The deliverables are the same as always, your executive summary, your Jupyter notebook, and 3 minutes, like a 3-minute video. This time, that's a little different. You focused your 3-minute videos to a general audience so far because we play them on the stream. This time, please focus on the technical parts. You can really show everything what you like to show about the technical stuff and get deep into it. And the final pitch this time will be a 10-minute presentation at maximum, with a 15-minute Q&A at the in-person event in Lisbon. Then in Lisbon, you will be evaluated by our grand jury. Sounds very fancy. Those are jury members we selected during the WDL time, and they will be both technical and non-technical members. So you will have to be able to present your solution in a way that's interesting to technical people, but also to non-technical people, which I know is pretty hard, but we are convinced you can do that. And the grand jury will then evaluate the pitch on the product, and like the pitch overall and what the impact could be. And this time, as I said, the Bristol City Council has plans to implement the system, so you can really make an impact if you have a good model that they can use or that they can improve on. So this is your chance to help the bats in Bristol. And for this final presentation, we ask you to make a slide deck. Please submit that by the 17th of June, 7 p.m. GMT+1 time, so we can get everything working behind the scenes. There will be 2 mentor checkpoints this time, 1 technical and 1 for the pitch training. Yeah, if you have any questions about the format, as always, we are on Discord and we are happy to answer any questions. Now, the finals. I hope you're all very excited to meet some of the organizers, the other participants, the mentors in person in Portugal. And we are super happy that we get to do this. We get to do this in a large part because of Capgemini. They are a global leader and they transform managed business through technology, a very broad, big company, and they are willing to sponsor our final events in Portugal. For those of you who can't join for whatever reason, and for anyone else who wants to watch, we will of course live stream the final pitches so everyone can see what's happening with their team. This will be on June 18th, 2 p.m. GMT+1 time. So if you want to put that into your calendar, you can do that now. Okay, as Miguel has said earlier, our teams are global, joining from all over the world. So we of course want to help and sponsor the traveling expenses. I think most of the teams already are talking to Maggie or have meetings scheduled with Maggie to figure this out, how we do this best. In general, the criteria are if you're joining from Portugal, we sponsor up to 100 euros. If you join from somewhere else in Europe, up to 300 euros, and for the rest of the world, up to 500 euros. But this is done individually with the teams because all expenses have to be approved. So if you haven't talked to Maggie yet, you will very soon about this. And of course, we are all about ecological travel, and if you can, please use public transport. Now, the complete guide, there will be a guide for the final, will be shared with you, and food and accommodation is of course included in Portugal. Now we are ready for the roundtable, and I think Becky, you are already here in the call with me.
Yes. Hi, Tamara.
Hi, Becky. It's super nice to meet you. We only met during emails before. You are actually part of the Bristol City Council, and maybe you want to start introducing yourself, what you do there, what your job is.
Okay, thank you. Yes, so I work as a nature conservation officer. I'm based in the Parks Department at Bristol City Council, and my role mainly revolves around projects looking to increase biodiversity across the city, but specifically within parks, our parks and open spaces.
That's a super cool job. May I ask what your background is? Like, how do you get a job where you get to work on biodiversity? If someone listening is interested.
Yeah, so I'm very lucky to do the job that I do and be doing something that I really enjoy. But yes, my background was originally my undergraduate degree was in geography, and during my studies realized that ecology was the area that I wanted to focus on. So I subsequently did a master's degree in ecology.
That's amazing. Like, everyone watching who wants to work for the environment, I think that's probably the path to go. Yeah, and thank you so much for being here to answer questions of people like me who don't have a background like that, and maybe look at the data sets. Now, like, what really is a dark ecological corridor, which is my next question. Can you explain what that means?
Yeah, so so ecological corridors are, I guess, areas of land that different wildlife can move through, where it provides the kind of habitat requirements that they need, and enables them to move from one area to another. So, for example, different animal species may have different requirements at different times of year. So they might migrate, for example, and therefore they may need a corridor to allow them to migrate between where they are during the summer and the winter. And that does apply to bat species, certainly elsewhere in the world. In the UK, we don't have bat species that migrate, but they do move between where they roost, which is where they live during the summer, and where they roost during the winter. So that's one of the reasons why, in terms of looking at and trying to establish where there are corridors for certain species, obviously bats are nocturnal animals. They fly at night, and they require darkness as part of their habitat in order to be able to move around. So that's there are other species as well that benefit from dark ecological corridors, but hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea of what a dark ecological corridor is.
Definitely does. So it's kind of a subset of wildlife corridors where it's important that it's really dark at night. And I can imagine a bat flying to another location when it's suddenly very bright, gets very confused.
Yes, yeah. So there are different species of bats respond to light differently. But if you have some of the more light sensitive bat species, then the areas that they use to forage for food can be impacted by lighting, because light can attract their food source. So what happens is, let's say the moths and other insects that are attracted to the lights, and that creates a vacuum, if you like, a lack of those animals for the bats to feed off in the darker areas where the bats are safe, feel safe to use. It can also, if there's lighting, too close to where the bats live, then it can stop them from being able to come out of their roost at night. If lighting is if light levels are too high along their route between where they roost during the summer and where they roost during the winter, then it can basically create a barrier to their movement between those locations.
It's really interesting. Thank you. Obviously, I already had a sneak peek at the data during the whole preparation phase, and I saw that we have data on where bats are, where moths are. So it's not only that the bats need to get to the moths, but if there are too many lights around the moths, they will just sucked in. And we all have seen the clouds of moths flying around lights, and then the bats can't really get to them.
Yeah, so I mean, lighting isn't good for a lot of moth species either, because obviously it affects their behavior. So when moths are attracted to the light, it stops them from carrying out their normal behavior in terms of looking for nectar sources. So it affects the moth's behavior, but then it also makes those moths unavailable, if you like, to the bats. So in terms of the data sets that we've got, that we've made available, we're really trying to establish where, so that the corridors and the alleyways are likely locations where these bats may use, and they may forage for insects, or they may use them to move from one part of the city to another at different times of year. So I think what we're trying to find out is how those corridors interact with where we have lighting, and whether or not we can make changes to our lighting to strengthen those corridors. So if there are obvious linear corridors, linear sections of land that the bats could be using, and there are records of bats there, and there are records of the moths there, their food. But part way along, there's a road that cuts across that's got lighting columns on it. Then that's where we really need to identify those areas where we can optimize the dark corridor by looking at potentially dimming the lighting or reducing the light levels at those points. One thing it might be worth me mentioning is that bats hibernate during winter. So the main time of year when lighting is an issue is in the summer months, when obviously lighting won't need to come on until a lot later, and therefore from a safety perspective may not be needed so much anyway.
That's all. I already learned a lot about bats in this quick talk. I didn't know they hibernate, and I didn't know that they migrate. So that's really interesting. And I saw that we have data on these green alleys too, and even on some of the plant species in the green alleys. So we know where nectar might be for moths. So it's definitely a lot of data for the participants to dig into, and I hope they will provide a good solution where you can build upon that. I was wondering how the decision was made to focus on bats in the Bristol City Council, like what the process was like to arrive to, this is what we want to focus on.
Yeah, okay. So I guess there are a number of elements to this. So Bristol was the first city in the UK, or in England, at least as far as I know, to announce an ecological emergency at the beginning of 2020. So recognising that both worldwide and in our own part of the world, species have been really badly affected over the last over a long time, but increasingly so over the last couple of decades, and numbers of species and the diversity of species is really significantly been declining. So we announced an ecological emergency at the beginning of 2020, and worked with partners to develop an ecological emergency strategy, which sought to try and address some of these declines. And one of the pieces of work in there was to establish what the current ecological network for Bristol looked like. So trying to understand how wildlife was currently using our city and moving around our city, so that we knew how to try and improve it further for that wildlife. We also just outside of Bristol, we have there are certain species of bats, the horseshoe bats, which are annexed to species of the European Habitats Directive. And as a result of that, sort of just on the doorstep of Bristol, in our neighbouring authority of North Somerset, there are a couple of special areas of conservation that are designated specifically for those species of bats. And we have some data to suggest that they do actually, some of those populations do actually come into Bristol. And that's why we're fairly sure that we have existing dark corridors that they are using, that we want to protect. So that's kind of the context in terms of ecological emergency and wanting to try and help protect our wildlife and improve things for our wildlife. And one of the reasons why we're looking at bats particularly is because of this important population that's right on our doorstep.
Yeah, so like you're one of the cities on the forefront in the UK with doing that and with helping protect our biodiversity. That's really cool. And yeah, with the bats being a protected species living on your doorstep was a thing that made sense. I noticed in the data that some of the records of bats and moths have been collected like a lot of years ago, like decades ago. So you must have had some record data collection in place already. Can you talk a little bit about that, like the methodology?
Unfortunately, probably not. So we do have, so nationally in the UK, we do have monitoring of certain species. So there are roosts, so that's where the bats live, that are monitored annually. But a lot of the records that we have are ones where people have been doing bat surveys for a whole range of reasons, but often it's associated with development. And yeah, whenever they record a species, they will make a note of that and send it into our local record centre, who are the people that receive and collate our data on wildlife. So that's why there are some records that are very old, because this data has been collected over a long period of time. But yes, unfortunately, it's not all been collected necessarily in the same way. But that doesn't necessarily make one record any more or less valid than another.
Yeah, definitely. And I imagine it takes a lot of discipline, like with some of the data being, I think even before 1950, that you keep these records and hand it over to the next people who take over the job. So that's really impressive. Was wondering, like, how many people are working on this? Do you have a whole team, or is it all on you to keep track of this data?
No, so as I said, we have what's called the Bristol Regional Environmental Record Centre, and they're the ones that look after this data. And there is a team, but it is a very small team, and a group of very hardworking volunteers that help to collect this data and enter it into our databases and store it and manage it.
Okay. Yeah, I imagine it's a fascinating job, and you really make an impact every day. I want to talk a little bit or ask a little bit about the future, but before I do that, I just want to quickly say to everyone who's listening, if you have any questions for Becky, this is the moment to ask. And you can just put them in the chat in the live stream, and a little bird will tell it to me over our internal systems. And yeah, so if we jump forward and the participants will do a great job and they will submit models, what are you hoping to see in those models? What would be really helpful to you?
So I think what would be really helpful would be to to identify where these important dark corridors are, and from that where there may be lighting which is reducing the effectiveness of that as a dark corridor, so that we can then focus our efforts in terms of our central management system that we're going to be using. We can clearly see where in city which streetlights we need to focus on in terms of making changes to when they're lit or the level at which they're lit. So that's what we'd like to get from this challenge if we can.
Yeah, that's one thing I love about WDL. We can directly talk to the people who will use the models and ask what is important to you. And thanks for that answer. Like, I think this will be helpful for the participants to know what to focus on. Other than that, you live in Bristol?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Maybe most participants have never been to Bristol. I have never been to the UK. So is there something maybe city specific that we are all not thinking of?
I think I don't. This probably is comparable in other cities, but one of the things which I think, in terms of the city currently and where the dark corridors are, we have some quite significant river corridors, and we also have railway lines that cross the city one side to the other. And I suspect that they probably contribute quite significantly to the dark ecological corridors in Bristol, because they well, they may be crossed by roads, but there would still be a dark corridor underneath the road in terms of river and railway. Unfortunately, from the data we've given you, I'm not sure how easy it will be to determine that. But if people have access to any sort of base mapping, then they would be able to see where those are.
Yeah, I think at this point, because we had a lot of like geodata challenges, most of the participants will have now intimate knowledge of how OpenStreetMaps work. And we also heavily just suggest that to please use all the data that's openly available. Mm-hmm. So we're almost out of time. We're at 40 seconds. Maybe, yeah, I think we don't really have time for another question. As far as I know, there are no questions from the chat. Yeah, if something comes up, yeah, we're always on Discord. I think you're invited to the Discord too. Have you gotten an invite yet or not?
When's that, sorry?
You might get an invite to the Discord, but definitely to the participants, ask your questions as always. And with that, we're almost ready. We have 10 seconds left until the finals officially start. One last time, congratulations to everyone who made it this far, and good luck. Thank you so much for being here, Beck.
There used to be a time not so long ago where doing your admin was tough. Customers throwing bags and boxes full of invoices and receipts at their accountants, it was chaos. While the world around us became more digital, new challenges in the land of accounting arose. Challenges such as organizing the huge amount of documents coming from different sources in various formats. Yet somehow all of this data did seem to get perfectly organized. In an almost magical way, automatic and intelligent transactions being pushed in real time into financial systems like Twinfield, Xero, and Sage, as well as capturing receipts and expenses on the go, and staying in control with an outstanding workflow for approving invoices. Now, what made all this possible? What is their secret? Basecone, where accounting magic happens.
Today is the first day of what yesterday we called the future. It's inevitable. And like the future, unpredictable, unstoppable. But there is one thing that we know. We're changing it now. Taking action to build the tomorrow we want. A new energy on the planet. More inclusive, shared, greener. It's in our hands. You can only change the world if you can change yourself. If you can find the will, the know, and the how. Because that's our story. To always discover a new ambition. EDP is using the power of wind, sun, and water to be 100% green and to support those who today are already changing tomorrow. EDP, changing tomorrow now.